Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. Y'all know I come to y'all each and every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. here Central Time from Globe Life Park on Fishbowl Radio Network, which, next week will be the end of my 4th year. I am so excited. I never thought anybody wanted to listen to a little old lady talk about STEM and interview people, but I have been so blessed that I have had so many wonderful guests. Don't forget, we are ending a wonderful Women's History Month because, we've got so many wonderful women out there that are doing and continuously do wonderful things. And last week I talked about Jim's Camp, which is a program here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. If you are looking for something for your wonderful young ladies to do in STEM or STEAM, please contact the Jim's Camp. And they have boxes that they send out with activities. I am so, so, so proud of this organization. And don't forget Taylor STEM Adventures, because we can't travel right now. Everything in Taylor STEM Adventures Texas and Taylor STEM Adventures Hawaii are things that you can do with your kids from a STEM perspective, because I got to do them with mine. And I'm in trouble because I haven't written a new one in the last year and a half. And people are saying, are you going to do all the states? I am going to try. I'm going to work on it, because I've been to, of the 50 states, I think I've been to 38 of them. So, got to do that. And don't forget, on the 28th of this month, Sunday the 28th. Is the 28th is the Digithon? We are having a Digithon. It's kind of like a telethon, but it's a Digithon, and we're going to be supporting small businesses. So if you have a small business, please come out to 1000 Ballpark Way, Suite 312, and come in, introduce your small business. Sammy is going to be on live for 24 hours is what she says. But Sammy's been doing this forever, so I'm excited. Come in, donate, give a little donation, tell people about your organization, about your small business. We're going to love it. I'll be here at 3 that day live on the show. So without any further ado, hey y'all, I have a guest that's a little different today. She is on the STEAM side, which means she is a artist, and I am all excited about her being here. I'm trying to make sure I'm on Facebook Live, because y'all know me and technology don't always get along. Although I love my technology and I have my people keeping me straight. Let me make sure I got this on and up. Yay, there we are. Looking beautiful. All right, so this is Shani. Oh, she only gives me the letter for her last name. She is the owner and illustrator of the Art Bard Productions, which is all about helping storytellers tell their story visually through illustrations for picture books and storyboards and animation for film. And I'm a big film person, since that's what my loving child has the thing to do. But hey, if you are a author and you're out and you're doing children's books, or someone, hey, have them either log on to fbrn.us or have them like All About STEM Radio on Facebook, so they can hear what this young lady has to say. Shani, will you please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about you?
Sure thing. So it happened, right? The Shani. I am the Shani.
Shani. I
Very
said Shani. Shani.
Not Shani. I'm Shani. Hi, from the Art Bard.
We said it was going to happen.
Of course, it happens to me. I ask, I forget. It's all just par for the course. It's live radio. Um, so yeah, I'm part of the Art Bard Productions, owner, operator. One of these days I'll get it certified as a business, but until then, I'm just head illustrator. And so I like to help people tell their stories visually, like you mentioned. And for picture books, that's through illustrations, covers, interior pages. And for films, that's through storyboards or animatics. And animatics are just moving storyboards, right? Okay. So I get a lot of the job satisfaction of being a director without being a director, or a fraction of the cost. That's great.
Oh yeah.
The Art Bard is pretty new. I've dove into it when the pandemic hit, so it's only about, I want to say a year because of the pandemic, but in reality, maybe 9-10 months old. Mm-hmm. And in those months, I've been able to do so much with the Art Bard. It's just me right now, but I have so many goals for the Art Bard, so many big visions for it, and I really am super grateful for the opportunity, the sad opportunity that the pandemic has offered to transition into this other aspect of my whole personality. It's been amazing. It's been transformative, and I'm super excited for what this year has in store for what the Art Bard can do. Okay. Yeah.
I am too, because, people like you have made life for some of the people like me a little bit, a whole lot easier, because I can draw a straight line, but it'll still be crooked. And yeah, I had no anticipation of ever publishing children's books and getting it illustrated and getting, but, to find someone who can actually bring what I put on paper to life is amazing, What was your inspiration for starting the Art Bard?
Sure. So before the pandemic, I was an ecological landscaper. I got my degree in ecological agriculture. What? I know. My whole life I did art,
your bio.
But
I'm gonna get you. Wait a minute.
That's a whole different conversation.
Okay. Go ahead on.
So my whole life I did art, but we live in a culture that unless you have the financial resources, artists are sort of seen as, you have a hobby, congratulations, right? So it wasn't really taken seriously. And I kind of lament that, because I think I could have gone a lot further, a lot sooner, if I lived in a culture that did take my artistic skills, these services that you're talking about. You're bringing ideas to life, you're helping to spread knowledge through pictures, right? That's a skill. And so I did that growing up just for my own kind of stories, but, get a job, right? Yeah. I went to college through my mom's GI Bill, got my dual degree in agroecology, and I just spent a lot of time doing the farming thing. I was a farm caretaker, farm aide, and then I was an ecological landscaper, and the winter is hard for landscaping.
It is.
Ironically, because that's really the time that you should be planning for the year. So it shouldn't be a slow time. It should be a really busy time, but that's a whole different thing. So the pandemic hit right after winter, which meant that I lost the job, and I didn't have the vehicle to go to farms that I was qualified to run, and there was no place local that I could bike to that was hiring. All I had was this computer and my artistic skill and services that I could offer, and I needed to employ myself. So I started peddling my art, selling these amazing portraits and these commissions for horrible prices.
Yeah, I've seen some online. Y'all, she is fabulous. So, hey, if anybody has any questions, y'all can please call in at 214-717-4678 if you have any questions that you want to ask her. So go ahead on. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So, I spent, 18, 19 weeks waiting for unemployment.
Oh, yeah.
And that had me going houseless, had me going couch surfing during the pandemic lockdown where everything's very contagious. Yeah. And it's hard to focus on anything when you're in that kind of mindset, let alone building a business. But all I have is this computer and a bike. So I got to do something. And that's what I did. I started focusing on expanding my LinkedIn network. LinkedIn has an incredible network building tool. It's called the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And it's got this advanced search engine, and that's a whole different thing. But it allowed me to connect with people who are a bit more professional and could show me what it was like or modeled what professionalism looked like, right? Mm-hmm. I had a bunch of other business mentors, and I just took this passion that I've had my whole life, that the skill that I can bring forward without anybody else's say so, right? Yes, I can draw. I don't need a boss telling me how to draw. I can do that, right? Yep. So I just applied some business know-how that I've picked up over the years and the help of business mentors, and I got myself a website and a LinkedIn, and started making products, seeing what people wanted. Speaking of which, guess what came in the mail? Oh,
you know what? I saw that picture on the website. Well, I saw it's like a animation thing or something on your website. That's that picture. Mm-hmm. That is gorgeous.
So, it's taken so much complex thinking and connecting everything, but I got the print on demand entity going on, and so they sent me a sample of this beautiful mug, and I'm through the roof because last year was so hard, and this year I have a mug with my print on it. I don't know, it's a 120. And that's how I got into the art board. In a hard time, my art commissions kept me fed and paid my bills, and I ran with it.
Yeah. So, we're talking about this, and you're having to reinvent yourself. Trust me, you're not the only person that's having to reinvent themselves in this time, because I'm having to reinvent myself too, because again, I'm pretending to be retired, and we're trying to see what that looks like. For me, it doesn't look real well because I don't know how to be still, but the pandemic is making me be still. But I've gone to your website, and we've messaged back and forth, and I've just enjoyed it. You are extremely, extremely talented. I mean,
thank you.
Extremely. So I want to ask a few questions about some of the things that you do. I was going to start with illustrations, but I want to go back to your to some of your. Let me get this question right, because I've got like 40 things going in my brain and none of them are coming out my mouth. But when you work with people on doing a product, how do you like to work with them, or, what are some of the things that you want to communicate with them or get from them so you can give them what they're looking for?
Right. That's super product specific, but there's always going to be a standard of professionalism that I will carry over because I'm an artist, an illustrator, and within our culture, artists and illustrators, they're not valued the way that they should be.
No, they're not.
And, you'll get that in any industry. People are looking for cheap, high quality work. And I've mentioned this before in a few of my posts. It's like you can only get two of the three, right? Quick turnaround time, cheap, or high quality. Which two do you want, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who will ask you for all three. And it speaks to how well you know your own value if you will accept that, right? Mm-hmm. So my standard that I will always start with is, if you want to work with me, we're going to get onto a Zoom chat and we're going to have contracts, right?
Yes.
I have a business model. It's like a social media marketing, right? Everything that I post is meant to attract the client that I want to work with, right? So if people see my post and they're like, ooh, I want cheap, high quality, quick turnaround time, I'm not going to work with Shani. That's great. That's exactly what my posts are supposed to protect me from, right?
Yes.
If they see my posts and they're like, I can work with this person, then we start chatting, then we can go on to a Zoom chat, then we'll do the contract stuff. And then it becomes more, what do I need from the client? That becomes more product specific,
yes.
right? First, they have to fit my preferred mentality, my ideal client mentality. If they don't, I send them on their way. I say, maybe you can work with somebody else. Maybe I know somebody who will help you better. It's not me, right? And that's really doing them a service more than me. It's doing both of us a service.
Yeah,
anyways.
Because you find these people, they wait to the last minute and they want it now, but they want it perfect, or they want it in a certain way. And, they can't, you want to give a good product because you're a great artist. So
absolutely. And if I don't give a good product, then that lowers the caliber of clients I will work with in the future.
Yes.
So I really need a client who will help me get better clients or clients on par.
Yes.
It's all building that portfolio. Mm-hmm. So if we're going into picture books, I need to know their manuscript. They send it to me, at this point we have a contract. Maybe I've read a few pages, and if I don't find anything alarming or that I would object to, then I'll say, yeah, let's do this. Sign the contract. Let's read the manuscript more. A lot of maybe first-time writers will send the manuscript but have no character design in mind.
Yes.
And that's kind of a mistake, because that's part of the pre-production services, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't know what your characters are supposed to look like, then that's going to take some time to design that maybe wasn't thought about beforehand and should be budgeted for. So I'll talk to them about that. How do you want your characters to look? And that's a whole psychology of character design. Mm-hmm. Manuscript, character design, then we'll go into formatting. How many pages do you want this to be? Landscape versus portrait. Are you going to do it digital versus print? Are you going to do both? Where are you going to put it online? Are people going to be able to click through one page at a time, or is it going to be a vertical scroll? Because that's going to change the format of everything.
Oh. Wait a minute, you just said something I didn't even think about. Is are you going to click on it and it moves to the next page or next segment, or are you just going to scroll down? I didn't know that would be different.
Well, viewers get really frustrated these days if they have to pinch and zoom, right? So a vertical format makes it super easy for them to read it. And when you're talking about the competition, which is really flooded in the children's book market, you want to stand out. And there's a lot of other things that you can do to stand out. There's like integrations where you can put the kid's face on the character, or you can have it read to you, all these other things. So there's a lot of widgets that can help with that. But this is stuff that I would need to know. Should I make room for the kid's face on the character, or should I format the page for a vertical scroll? Will people be able to download it so that they can read it on their computers versus on their cell phone, right? It's a lot because now we're getting into the politics of, should kids be reading books on cell phones? So that's for the picture book side, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just going to add this as an aside to that, right? Okay. You also want to budget for the covers, because the covers are going to be a huge part of it.
Yes. The cover is huge. And in some cases, some people want to take a page out of the book and make it the cover. And some people want a total different thing. And I'm just going to say this. You have people that have stock covers. So, have you ever been somewhere and saw a book cover that resembled another book cover? I have.
Book market.
Huh?
I haven't looked in the kids' book market of stock.
Well, not kids'
covers.
books, but I'm talking about other books.
Right. The older books.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. Template. Canva.com. Canva. That's all templated book covers.
Yep.
But there's a whole design language that gets people to look at the story.
Yes.
To get them to lead their eye into the next page, incite that curiosity. It's a psychology of design, right? So you get what you pay for. If you want the template to do it yourself, I hope you already have the knowledge of design psychology. If you don't, and you do it anyways, there are consequences. Good luck. Best of luck. You can do it.
You may have a book cover that look like somebody else's.
I hope you stand out in some other way. I wish you all the success in the world, my friends.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with All About STEM Radio. This is Dr. Mary Payton. Hey, I am talking to, y'all know I say all my guests are great, but this one in particular, because she is a STEAM person and a art person and not a STEM person, which, you know, I do STEM and STEAM. Please, if you know someone who loves artwork, needs storyboarding, needs illustrations for picture books or children's books, I am talking to Miss Shani. Oh, that's what I'm calling her. Hopefully I'm not messing up her name again. She is a illustrator, a storyboard, animations, portraits. I mean, the lady, and she even has some of her pictures for sale online at her website, which is, what is your website? I've got it.
TheArtBard.com.
Say it again.
TheArtBard.com.
TheArtBard.com. Y'all have to go there. I mean, she's got some beautiful things there. But if you're looking for someone to work with you on bringing your product to life, you've got to call her. I mean, look at her website and then make a decision. But Shani, tell me a little bit about the storyboarding, working on storyboards with people.
Sure.
Or some of the projects that you're doing for yourself.
Absolutely. I really do love storyboards. I mentioned before that it's got the same job satisfaction as being a director at a fraction of the cost, and it's all me, right? So I grew up enjoying comic books. A lot of kids would read. I would read comic books. Two different kind of information processings happening. Absolutely. And I kind of wanted always to be a comic book artist. And so I experimented a little bit with what that business model would look like when I jumped into the Art Bard. And it's really complicated. All business is really complicated, but comic books, it's its own kind of beast, right? So I kind of put that on the back burner. I'll make my own comic book, but to find the client who can afford a comic book from me, those kind of services, that's 1 in a million. They don't have the funds. They don't have the audience, right? Yeah. There's a whole lot of stars that need to be aligned. So I put the comic books on the back burner, but the same kind of skills that are required for comic books, that visual storytelling element, the sequential panels, that frame by frame view of storytelling, that is exactly what goes into storyboards. Okay. And so you have your commercial storyboards or your animation storyboards, films by itself, not animation, live action films, anything in a film, your YouTube, all of that, they can all be budgeted better, planned for better, arranged more artfully with a storyboard, right? Yes. With documentaries, you kind of point and shoot, and the material you have is the material you have. Maybe you go onto archive.com and get a bunch of older films, and then you splice it all together. With everything else, there's a bit of planning that needs to go into it. Films cost so much money. They do. They don't make money at all, right? They just fund their next project. They are not making $1 bajillion. Maybe the actors and all them, but the people who are making the magic happen don't get that much money. So one way that you can curb those expenses is knowing exactly how you can frame your shots. Where's the camera going to be? Where's the person going to be? What are you going to see of them? And if you can see all that, then you know what kind of material you're going to need. So this all goes into a budgeting process, which goes into a scheduling process, which goes into financing. This is all to say, storyboards give you insight into the future of the film and the budget of the film, and that by itself saves so much money. Have I worked on storyboards for other people's projects? No. I'm 10 months into it. You know how hard it is to break into the film industry?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even going to try.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make my own stuff, because the thing about where we are technologically, everybody has a camera. And with a tripod or a couple of buddies, you can make your own film, right?
Yep.
Be a decent writer. You really don't need Hollywood to become viral if that's what you want. Be a YouTube sensation. All this to say, I'm not gonna bang my head against the wall trying to get into Hollywood. I'm going to do it myself. So I've been making my own storyboard animatics through toonboom.com. Thank you so much, Toonboom.
Okay.
And they've been based on my own dream sequences or aspects of my comic that I think would be easier to understand if they were brought to life visually through film, right? That has been incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've thought about doing dream illustrations as commissions, but I think there could be a market in animatics for dreams.
Okay. Now, when you say animatics, what are animatics? Because
Sure.
I've been calling it animations, but I do have animatics down here because I took it off. Okay, it's kind of like I'm messing up your name, okay?
No worries. It's a talking point.
Okay.
So storyboards are frame by frame,
Yes.
right? When you start moving them, it becomes an animatic. And suddenly it gets life, right? If you have a digital program, because a lot of storyboards can be hand-drawn, right? But if you do it digitally, you can move certain aspects of a frame. So you can move an arm, or you can move a leg, or you can turn a head, or you can zoom in, and then you can add notes to it, but that's a whole different thing. So moving elements of a frame or pressing play on a sequence makes it an animatic. Without pressing play, it's a storyboard, right? So it's just that film aspect to it that says press play, it's going, it's an animatic.
Okay. It's kind of like, okay, I'm getting ready to date myself, and Paul is going to laugh. Back in the day, you used to make those little flip books, and you just move the picture just a little bit, and then when you flip through it, it looked like the story was moving.
Absolutely.
But you're doing this digitally.
Well, so now we're talking a little bit more nuanced. That's called stop animation.
Yeah. Okay.
Regular animation, I'm not an animator, so forgive me for not knowing the details of it. But you can actually take parts of the anatomy and move it in one full motion, right, without having to change frames. Okay. With stop animation or flip books, you're doing exactly what you said. You're moving an element a piece at a time, frame at a time. So you can have thousands of frames in that one flip book. With animatics, it doesn't need to be perfect, right? Stop animation looks perfect.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many frames. But you can do animatics for a fraction of the frames and still get the idea across. So it would look like there are chunks missing between the frames, but the way that our minds work, we see patterns, we put stories together. That's what we do. So you really don't need too much information to get from point A to point B. And that's the magic of it. Okay.
Because the video that's when I click on your website for animatics, not animations, Mary, for animatics, it has that visual or that video of the mug that you have that you just got in the mail that is just utterly and totally beautiful. Show us the mug again. See, that's the mug.
Da-da-da-da. Ta-da. Oh, wow. It's 15 ounces.
So how did you do that particular one? Because that is just, I've sat there and just watched that like a puppy at the beach. That is just so beautiful.
That's flattering. Thank you. I use Clip Studio Paint, and they have what's called a time-lapse screen recorder. You kind of have to pay to get that feature, but basically it just watches. It'll take the information from the stylus to tablet, and it records that, and then it time lapses that into a video. So I pause in between. Sometimes these things take me hours, depending on what I'm working on. And I'll exit the application, I'll come back to it, and the time lapse feature ignores all of that and puts all the information together in a really quick sequence to get that beautiful video that you're talking about. I've looked at it multiple times and I'm astounded as to how that process worked. It's like watching mountains grow or tulip bloom or something. I can't even. Art is magic.
But you know what that one reminds me of, because I just moved back here from the Big Island of Hawaii. And if you sit on the beach and you just look at the sky, and it's probably why I've watched it so many times, it just reminds me of that beautiful blue sky on the islands. It's just, the clouds are just moving by depending on where I am. But I mean,
That is high praise. It really is.
But it's beautiful. So have you worked with any clients on that type of thing yet?
A short answer to that, no, right?
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. The kind of clients that would be suitable for, if it were a commission, right, would probably be film, and it would be the background images, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, of course, there's a background. Your characters are walking through something, right? So behind it, that would probably be my clouds. And for folks out there who are trying to make money off of your art, that you get money with film with your image in the background for the amount of seconds that it's on, right? Oh. And that's, I'm pretty sure it's either a one-time purchase or it can be every time that it's
Paul
broadcasted, right? I'm sorry?
Yeah. We've got a call coming in. I don't know if somebody...
Sure.
Oh, hello. This is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. May I help you? They must have let go.
Oh.
Okay, I was
back. We want to know.
I was hoping it was someone who had questions for you. Okay,
No worries.
let's see if we can answer. Hello, this is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Payton. Very good to hear from you.
Yes.
My question is, my name's William Good. My question is, what do you think about the children, getting children interested in science and technology at a young age? When I was young, my older brother's 15 years older than me, and this is in the mid-'60s,
Yes.
late '60s. He would bring how and why books, and it was really great. I'm sure they don't exist anymore. Are you familiar with those how and why books?
I'm not familiar with those, but I'm going to look those up when I get home.
Were like thin pamphlets. They weren't magazines. They were books, probably about a quarter-inch thick, and color photos inside, all about nature. It had all about different animals, and it was very relatable to children. And I think it helped spur a lot of creativity and people thinking about that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, when you talk about the age of getting students interested in science, in STEM, I don't think too young. Working with a kid at 2 years old with building blocks and colors, and is not too young. It's just how, as parents, as teachers, how we work with them and bring that knowledge together. If you take them outside and they're planting a plant, to see that plant grow, that's science. But when you talk about that plant as far as color and depth and height, that's bringing a whole different dimension to that for that child. And you talked about the books. Now I have a wonderful artist here. Those books, those pictures, those paintings bring, give it a visual aspect to the kid, because I've taught different things in different grades. So let's say I taught photosynthesis in different grades, but I taught it differently every time to make that information deeper and more meaningful to my students.
Yes, I agree. It's not too young. But the books, like in me, were, like you said, vivid colors.
Yes.
And scenes that were really captivating, like a gorilla interacting with other animals. It was like just, I mean, I have these images still in my mind from, well over 50 years ago. And it had the dinosaurs, it had a T-Rex, and the T-Rex, at that time, they thought the T-Rex stood upright on its hind legs. Mm-hmm. And we know now that's not the case at all.
Yep.
Their tail a counterweight balancing their huge physique.
Yep.
So science was it wasn't as accurate and up to date in so many respects. And so, I mean, I don't think there's anything on the market now for kids to, kids all the way up into early teens, for them to get, because these were very inexpensive books, how and why books. And they came, on all different kind of subjects. And like I said, my brother Stuart, 15 years older than me, and, he would buy me these books every so often when I'd see him, when I'd visit home coming from college.
Okay. I'll have to look those up. Do you have any questions for our guest today? She is a artist / illustrator who, does things to bring art to life and make it more visible for our young people.
Also, I think I recognize the name. Hi, Will, from LinkedIn, right?
Yes. Yeah,
hi,
yes,
nice
indeed.
to finally meet you through voice.
Yeah. I tried to get the Fishbowl Radio Network on my computer, and I couldn't do it. So it wasn't. I guess I have to download the.
No, you don't have to download the app. It's just fbrn.us.
Yeah, I have that, and then I clicked the arrow, and it says all about STEM, and it does nothing.
Oh, okay. All right. So we may just be recording right now, but we're fine. But
so that's why I called from the blind. I wasn't. I don't know what topic you were discussing or anything, but I wanted.
Well, I have Shani. She is a wonderful artist, and we're talking about illustrations and storyboards and animatics, which is a new word for me that I'm learning today.
Yeah, oh yeah, Gigantor. That was a big animatrate.
We mentioned that. He and I have talked about that. But to get back to what you were saying about kids starting young with science, it's my understanding that we start out being curious about everything, and that is the essence of both science and artistry, right? Artists, their job is to notice stuff and then show that in their elements in a way that other people can notice it too. And science, right? You can speak to this, Dr. Payton. It's all about noticing stuff also and discovering and learning. And kids are doing that from day one.
But, for me, to put a visual with the words has been extremely important, because I have my students draw every aspect of every concept. Not every aspect, but I have them draw aspects of the concepts that I'm teaching. And they can go to that, and it's like putting the words into a picture. If we're talking about photosynthesis, and they can look at a leaf and they can tell how carbon dioxide goes in and oxygen goes out, where does the water come from? It makes all of that very important. So, but I'm talking about me, and this is your interview, and we're supposed to be talking about you.
Thanks.
So, sir,
Yes,
do you have any more questions for us?
That's it. Just, I agree. It's you have to, if you can't visualize something in simple terms, you don't even if it's so complicated, you really don't understand it.
True.
And this is what I remember. This is back in 1980. This lady, Captain Hopper. She was in her 80s at that time. She was the inventor of COBOL. Mm-hmm. And she came to the Naval Academy and she said to everybody, all the midshipmen, I have a nanosecond for you. Mm-hmm. And she said, she gave everyone a piece of wire that was about 1 foot long. And that wire symbolized a nanosecond. Yes. Which is the distance that light travels in 1/1000th of a second. Mm-hmm. So if you ask somebody to describe what's a nanosecond, they might be able to tell you it's a billionth of a second, but they wouldn't be able to describe it to you. Right. So now you have a visual of what a nanosecond is, mm-hmm. At about 12 inches long. The distance light travels in a billionth of a second. So I think it's so important. And it really, when something's tangible, it brings it home. Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, thank you for your call, and I've got another call coming up. Thanks, hey, Will. We are connected on LinkedIn because I accepted your invitation today, and we will keep in touch because you've got a nice item too that I need to talk to you about.
Oh, great.
Okay. All right, Will, I'm gonna have to let you go. So we'll talk soon.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you next time, Will.
All right, bye.
All right. All right, where am I?
I think you mentioned another caller.
Oop, I think they clicked off because it took too long for me to answer. All right, that's okay. They'll call back just like Will did. Now,
go for it.
No, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I studied scientific illustration for a while, and that is its own art form, right?
Yeah, it is.
You are teaching doctors how to do surgery on people through artwork. No pressure. Mm-hmm. But can you do that? It's
but I'm going to tell you, you have to draw it out. If you look at any of the new medical shows that come on, like My Feet Are Killing Me, they're always drawing out what they're going. You're smiling. Okay, I'm big on medical TV. I'm sorry,
like the
Dr. Pimple Popper, My Feet Are Killing Me, the Toe Bro. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But they're always drawing out what they're gonna do before they do it. So yeah. Scientific illustrations are extremely important. Hey, we have about, believe it or not, 6 minutes left. Can you believe we went that quickly? Again. Will you tell our listeners, because these are your listeners too, how to connect? Well, what's your social media handles and how to connect with you? Because I know of too many children's book writers who are always needing wonderful illustrators. So can you tell people how to connect with you?
Sure thing. And if you know these people, send them my way.
Okay.
If they're not already listening to this, because this is how y'all can find me. I'm at www.theartbard.com. Or you can find me at LinkedIn at Shani O, SHANI-O. That's the last name I'm going by. And those are really my two main sites right now. I'm just trying to master those two, and then I can move on to Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all the others that make sense. But until then, find me at LinkedIn, Shani O. Find me on the website, theartbard.com, or feel free to email me at theartbard@gmail.com. And I will look forward to chatting with you.
Hey, y'all, if you go to her website, she has a very good website. And you have some of your artwork for sale there too.
Ba-ba-da-da, on a cup, on a blanket, on a pillow. I'm getting t-shirts next. Or wall art if you just want to stare at the clouds at your wall. Whatever, I don't judge. I'm just glad that you're supporting the arts.
Since I'm back in Texas and no longer in Hawaii, and we had a snowstorm, I get back on January 9th. On January 10th, it snowed.
Oh
I'm
God.
on the beach in my swimsuit on January 7th, and on January 10th, I'm in snowshoes. Okay.
Oh, man, what did you do to deserve that kind of karma?
I don't know, but you know what? I'm going to say this, and then I'm not going to get on this anymore. This is the second time it's happened. The first time my boys and I moved to Texas from Hawaii, that year was the worst snowstorm prior to this one.
Oh my.
So I can't go back to Hawaii again and come back.
No, you don't want to do that third time. There's a pattern there.
There's a pattern.
Don't go to Texas afterwards, okay?
So just
come up here to Washington, where I'm at.
Oh, Washington State?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. It's beautiful up there, I hear. I haven't been there yet.
Well, anywhere in the state, you're no more than 4 hours away from beach, volcano, rainforest, regular forest, prairie, snow, desert, apple trees galore. We got hops here, so, fresh made cider and beers. That's what you're into. But we got it all. And I don't know why anybody would leave.
Oh, wow. I haven't been there yet. I've just seen pictures. But anyway, I want to quickly ask you about portraits.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you do portraits for people, of people?
Yeah, this is something that I've gotten into marketing more recently, but this is what I started with is portraits, graphite, then watercolor, and then I transitioned into digital, and now it's like I'm going back to my roots here. So I absolutely understand what goes into a portrait. If you want it cartoon for maybe your business profiles, I've done that before. Oh. If you're more into the super realistic that you want to blow up into a big portrait to hang on your wall, that can happen. I've done anniversary portraits and all different types of portraits. Kids start drawing the face first, usually.
Yes.
And so there's so much to it, but it's really my first love, and I would love to share that with other people if they're interested in a portrait.
Okay, so you are so well-rounded. So we've got a couple of minutes, and I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Where do you feel you're going to be? Where are you looking at taking this over the next few months? Because now life happens so quickly. Over the next few months, next few years, because you're so young. But what are you looking at doing with this, or what do you see yourself going? What kind of clients do you want? And I'm going to shut up now.
Sure. So I have two different types of clients, right? In the film industry and in the book industry. And I would love to do 2 to 3 major projects a year with those kind of clients. So whether that's a kid's book or it's a storyboard, if I could do 2 to 3 of those, that would keep me financially stable for the year, right? And then in between, I would love to do smaller commissions. Maybe it's portraits, maybe it's I just did a political cartoon. I don't know. That's where the variety comes in. So surprise me, right? And between that, I'm working on my own projects. I'm doing the comic book, I'm doing the kids book. I've got a lot of projects planned. Maybe a coloring book, a political coloring book. That would be great. A whole sticker book, a bunch of products, right? So when we're talking about the business of creativity, we're talking about business, and that's where I'm taking this, right? In the business structure, I need to have passive income and regular income through products and stuff that will sell for a long time, and then I need that active income, which is where the client commissions come in, and that's what I see for the next year. But in a couple of years, I've got a bunch of experience with farming and mental health and art and business, and I would love to combine that into kind of an Art Bard Institute where I'm teaching younger people how to either connect with the land or make business out of their art, right? Or both.
I love it.
But who knows?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, you are so talented, Shani. And
Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for an illustrator, again, for your books or an artist, please connect with her at theartbarn.com or email her at theartbarn@gmail.com. Did I get that right? Yeah.
The Art Bard at gmail.com.
Art Bard. Okay. Correct me. That's fine. Please, please, please. And if she does illustrations for you, you have to do what I do. I always put my illustrators' names on the front of my books because that also gets them recognized. So, but anyway, Shani, thank you so much for coming on. And this has been so much fun. From me messing up your name to me messing up the name of your business.
Thank
This
you
has
so
been
much.
so much fun.